video. To get started, can you share your name and your occupation or what you do?
My name is Mary Ngase, and I am retired. During my working years, I did many things, and now I am retired.
And what's your favorite thing to do in retirement?
Reading is one. Seeing friends and having friends for dinner, going to their houses, going out to lunch were favorite things when when everyone was able to do that, and going to museums and concerts and plays were also favorite things to do, and I hope to get back to all of those again. Since the quarantine, the lockdown, I have been sewing masks, and so I hope to get back to sewing quilts again.
Very nice. Nice. Can you share a little bit about your religious background with us?
I grew up in the Congregational church. During my elementary years, my parents went to church sporadically, and I went to church probably a little more than they did. During high school, I went fairly regularly, and they rarely went. In college, I went to church off and on, usually to a Methodist church, which was the one in the small town where I went to college. After college, I drifted away from the church, not from any argument or disenchantment. I just drifted away. And when my children were young, I started going back to church, to a Methodist church at that time, and then later went back to the UCC and have been a regular churchgoer and an active church member since then.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. With your background, have you come to have a favorite Bible verse or story?
I don't know that I have a favorite story. One verse I like is, well, two verses. One, and I can't quote them exactly, but one is, what does God require of thee but to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God? I think that expresses a lot. And the other one I like especially is that I can't quote at all, but the one about whatever is true, whatever is just, whatever is honorable, think on these things.
Those are both very powerful verses. Mm-hmm. So what is something that folks might not know about you?
That I once spent a summer working on a working sheep ranch in Guest Ranch in Wyoming.
Really?
In college, yes.
That must have been a lot of fun.
It was hard work, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet. So how did you end up becoming a member of this church?
I became a member a year after we moved up here from California, and tried, my husband sent me out as the church shopper, and I went to one church where not one person spoke to me all morning. No one said hello or hi, my name is such and such, or are you new, or I don't believe I know you, or anything. And one which had a nice service, but almost no one spoke to me there. One person came running across the parking lot as I was going to my car to introduce herself and chat for a couple minutes. And then I went to our church, and 7 people introduced themselves to me before service even started, and I thought, this is good. And then Pastor Diane told us a joke during the sermon, and I thought, this is my kind of church. And I told my husband, you should come and check this one out. And he came to one service, and he said, I don't need to look any further. This is it. Wow.
It really makes a difference, the community and the people and the way you're received. And how long have you been a member?
13 years.
Oh, wow. That's great. What parts of our church life do you find most meaningful?
This is the question in the list of questions that I really noticed. There are so many things that are great about this church, and in no particular order, I would say that maybe the top one is first place, and the rest are in no order. The pastoring is very consistent and very meaningful. You feel very supported by the pastor. This was true when Diane was here, and it is true with Adam. Also, the sense of community among the members and the friendliness of the members, those things are important. The music is wonderful. The sermons are excellent. The church's focus on mission, on helping people within the church and in our community and in the state, the country, the world, is remarkable. Partly because of this, there's a real opportunity to participate in the church, to be a part of these activities and this sense of mission. There's also the opportunity to just quietly come to church and sit in the pew if that's what you prefer. But all of these things are really wonderful, and you don't find this combination of good traits everywhere.
I agree. There are certainly a lot of things that are meaningful and make our church special. And I think right now they're really showing too during this time.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. Agree. How and why do you support our church financially?
I make a pledge, and I write my check monthly. I write checks. I'm an old fogey. I write checks. And I do it monthly because I find that's the easiest way for me to keep track. I used to do it weekly, and then I couldn't remember whether I had written a check the week before or not. And so now I just do it monthly. Mm-hmm. And then during the year, if I am able, I contribute more than I pledged. Some years I'm able to, and some years I'm not. I also often contribute to special offerings.
Mm-hmm.
Why is a good question. I think some people, not really in this church, but some people seem to feel that a church should run on the Holy Spirit, I guess, which it does, of course, in part. But the Holy Spirit doesn't keep the lights on. And mm-hmm. I think there's a tendency to think, why does the church ask for money? Why do they need money? What does money have to do with the church? But if we have sufficient money, we can keep the lights on, we can keep the sanctuary warm, we can pay our minister and our organist and our church administrator and our music director. We have funds to contribute to worthy causes. We have funds to help people within our church who might need some assistance. We have funds to make classes and books and resource materials available. We have funds to run Vacation Bible School for kids and Sunday School for kids. Volunteer time goes a long way toward doing all of these things, but we also need money, and I think it behooves church people to remember that.
Right. There are a lot of things we still have to fund in order to provide all those meaningful things that we mentioned. So how did you decide what to give?
I puzzled over this question. I don't think I have a system.
Mm-hmm.
Just come up with a figure that seems right to me and increase it the next year if I'm able. And in some years, contribute more than I pledged. I've fortunately been able to contribute the amount I pledged each year. I haven't had to reduce it, but
mm-hmm.
some years I can contribute more and some years not, but I don't think I have a system.
Okay.
Maybe I should, but I don't.
What seems to work for you, right? And that's what
Right.
matters. Do you mind sharing if and how you've been personally impacted by COVID-19?
So far, the way I've been affected is that my family and I are hunkering down. We're not going anywhere. I live with my daughter and son-in-law and my 3 grandchildren. I have my own space, but it's the same house. And I see them every day, but we don't go anywhere. I do go for a walk around the neighborhood most days. I wear a mask. I have been a couple times to the drive-up window of the pharmacy, and that's it. We have our groceries delivered, so I don't even go to the grocery store. I try to talk to many friends. I've been calling a lot of friends and having long conversations because no one has to go anywhere, so they have time to talk on the phone. And a lot of people say, I don't go anywhere except to the grocery store and to the pharmacy and to Target, and then I went to such and such the other day, and I think that's too many places to go. And it's a pain. It's a nuisance to not be able to go to the library or go out to lunch with a friend or do some, or go to the grocery store or do some other shopping. But I'm not willing to get sick or to die in order to do those things. And I'm well aware that because I'm retired, I don't have a job to worry about losing or to worry about going back to either. So that does make it easier for me.
Sure.
And most of the things I like to do are quiet things.
So it sounds like you're managing well, and
I'm managing well, and I would rather be able to go out, but I don't feel like it's been 2 months and I can't stand it. It's been 2 months, and I expect it'll be many months more.
Well, the last thing I wanted to ask you during this time, this kind of different time with COVID-19, is what is one hope or prayer that you have for our church in the next year as we kind of deal with this?
I hope and pray that we don't gather together physically too soon. I hope and pray, this is not just one prayer, I hope and pray that we continue to be connected through technology. I hope and pray that before too many months pass, we will be able to gather again in person. And I'm sure that will be a welcome and emotional time for all of us.
Absolutely.
And I hope and pray that when that day comes, we're all there.
Absolutely. I imagine that we're all hoping and praying for very similar things.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing. It really means a lot, and it's a really helpful way to support the church right now. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.